G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is an NDR rifle. This is a rifle of German origin, specifically East German origin, which would put it in the time frame of post-Second World War and Cold War era types of weapons. And the Berlin Wall, that's an interesting concept of just what happened. Open up a history book, you'll learn about the Berlin airlift and what life was like on the eastern side as compared to the western side. And I'll tell you something, those communists over on the eastern side are up to no good. You hear all these stories about people fleeing from the eastern side to the western side where the good guys were there to actually look after them and not starve them to death like the communists were probably trying to do. But never mind that, we'll talk about the weapon. Externally, this thing does resemble the G3 rifle, which Germany would go on to use a little bit later on before replacing it with a G36 even further on. That's our modern German weapon today, I suppose. But internally, this thing is basically Sturmgewehr 44. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't fire the German 7.62 rounds or whatever they were, like 7.92 or something. Big, heavy German rounds. It's firing the 5.56s. I honestly would have preferred it if it was actually chambered in just standard vanilla game 308s. That would make a little bit more sense. But this is a more higher caliber rifle than what you'd get out of your standard M4 carbine these days. So, you know, it's a little bit of a thing that I'm seeing that more and more. Maybe it's just easier to make things run on 5.56s, even though you can just change a couple of things here and there in the creation kit to make it fire different rounds. Anyways, so we'll start off with the receivers, and basically you got the same as the assault rifle, except it doesn't have a receiver for advanced. So the most powerful semi-auto receiver is going to be a calibrated powerful, but I'm seeing 156 damage there, so I suppose that's pretty good. Powerful auto receiver, 120 damage, not too bad. The fire rate will spring up a little bit thanks to that as well. Right now I've got a standard barrel. You can have a short barrel which will increase your fire rate somehow, and the snub barrel which will increase your fire rate even further, but I would advise against that because you lose too much range and accuracy and your damage at range will not be quite as good. Also, if I do that and put a scope on it, it'll look like an infiltrator from the Pit DLC. That might be an interesting concept for modification. We've got a wood grip. You can change that to polymer, which is not changing anything statistically that I can see, so I guess that's more of an aesthetic choice. You can throw a 60 round magazine, 20, 45, and a 30 round. Obviously, the bigger mags are going to allow for sustained fire, which means better DPS over an extended period. And we've got sights. You can have glow sights, aim points, baskets. So basically, your standard vanilla, not vanilla, modded sights where you can have any sort of modern day reflex sight or holographic attached onto this, which is great. There's also some Eastern ones if you feel like it needs to be more a part of its Eastern origins as a weapon developed over on Soviet controlled side. But yeah, there's also a couple of scopes in these things as well, but they don't offer that much zoom at all. In fact, apparently they're all offering 1.5 times zoom, which I doubt, okay, the ACOG does a little bit better, so there we go, that's fine. No complaints there. You can have some muzzles, including a muzzle brake, compensators, which will reduce your range, so don't ever do it. But there's some options of suppressors here, which are going to really reduce our range. 77, that's nothing. We're going to have to be at like point blank range to get this thing doing worthy damage how it is. A legendary effect is there if you need it. Unfortunately, there's no legendary effect that increases range, so we won't be utilizing that, but I'd be tempted if there was. You can have a short stock, which is just completely removed as you see right now. You can have a steel stock, which looks like a somewhat comfortable one. Or you can have good old-fashioned wooden furniture there, which is nice because it just ever so slightly looks more like the R91 assault rifle. That was the assault rifle, I think, from Fallout 3, and it fits kind of well. It's even got the charging handle, sort of foul charging handle on the side there, which is nice. Also, a damage slider is there if you need it, so if you feel like it's not doing quite enough damage for you, then you can crank it up a little bit, up to 90%. But we'll leave that, and 150 damage, we'll just have to deal with it. Got 60 rounds in the magazine though, so I think we'll be fine. Let's talk about getting this thing, and then we'll get to shooting things. Alright, so here we are outside of Fort Hagen once again, and map reference is here, by the way. We're starting on the sort of northwest side of the complex here, and you can tell that the Hewitt automatic rifle and the NDR were made at very specific moments, probably one after the other because both of them are located here. So just go up the scaffolding and you go up the top where the elevator is before you see the Brotherhood of Steel Pre-Win come in from about there. You'll find a skeleton on the ground. He's got an NDR sitting right on him, and there you go. There's how you get the NDR. As far as I know, that's the only place you can get it, so we'll just be using console commands to get ourselves some extra ones to switch during gameplay. And of course, I turn it into an infiltrator from the pit because I can. That 53 range, though, that's gonna bite me in the ass. Alright, we're about to start things off. Welcome to the Sunset Orange Sky Gunners Plaza. There's the bashing animation. I'm gonna continue to blow up that car using gun bashers. Anyways, this is the NDR in first person. Note you'll hold it real comfortable like on the magazine as sort of like a foregrip instead of the handguard there, which is, it's got a bunch of holes in it, so maybe it's like an air-cooled barrel system and that'll heat up, so you'll burn your little mitts if you hold on to that barrel whilst holding the trigger down for automatic fire. So maybe that's a good place to hold it right there. Here's the second one. This is the Infiltrator version, and just like the Infiltrator and the, I guess, the unique version of it, which is the Perforator in Fallout 3, this thing has got spread for days, which I think is fine because it's there's no stock here, so we shouldn't have any stability. Anyways, I've made this one. This one's got a scope, the ACOG scope, no suppressor, so we can hear this thing loud and proud. But I've also got one with a Russian red dot sight and a suppressor, just to hear what this thing sounds like, suppressed and semi-auto. Let's begin, shall we? Now, we've dimmed the lights a little bit because I just wanted something else, but that's okay. We've got Supreme Night Vision, so we can use that to our advantage, I suppose. Now, unfortunately, sitting on that little pedestal there and just sneak critting all of those gunners probably won't help me, especially since my main sneak critting weapon is going to be a gun which is, well, it's a very short range weapon for starters, and it's got spread, so I won't be able to hit them anyway, so that's alright. We seem to be going fairly effectively with just this one, and I like the Cobra reflex sight here because the little prong or whatever you call that little thing, chevron. No, that's the little triangle. But that's just good for aiming when you've got a recoil thing that's just straight up. I always liked using the sight in the Battlefield games, except for when I got to Battlefield 4, then I always choose the EOTech sight. But just getting nostalgia for Battlefield 3. And apparently there's man-tits right here. Get the hell out. I'm just gonna hip fire this thing, because I feel like aiming down sights is not only overkill, but impractical. Why would you put a scope on an unstocked rifle? Those pit raiders were bloody mad. Completely off their nut. Anyways, so things are going okay. I wouldn't mind getting a little bit of fighting under Nerd Rage, and that might be our chance now. We'll activate it. We'll just bring out our unsuppressed one. We'll get slightly less damage because Ace Operator is inactive. I think we come straight out of Nerd Rage there. It usually lasts longer than that. Maybe we're not feeling particularly angry today. We've still got Destroyer of Acadia by the looks, so we've got that going for us. But now we don't want to take on the mob. At least not without the protection of that. So let's go for some criticals here. Now I've noticed that, well, I have pointed it out, and you probably noticed that the range on this thing is fairly substandard. So that means, as a consequence, our VATS accuracy isn't going to be that flash hot either. Go for a critical here. That's a lot of damage. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that meme, that old meme quote. But I've got to say that I am slightly impressed by the amount of damage we can pull from a critical with this thing. Now, if we could just head glitch over this, that would be pretty great. We are so close to that all-important level up. I might just change the tempo of things. We'll run down the side of it, and we didn't get shot on the way, which is great news. If we can just take out a couple of gunners without being shot back, then we'll be in good shape. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And now the lights are a little bit dimmer than normal. Hopefully all you folks can still see the weapon at home. Because I used to do this during the night. Then I got people complaining that they couldn't bloody see the guns when I had them in game. So I thought, yeah, I should probably change that. But now I do things during the day and I can't use stealth. So I've started during the sunset. I immediately got a crash when I blew that gunner's head off. So we'll just go inside. I think you get the idea. Alright, now we're on full night ops mission. It is the crack of midnight because I just set the time via console commands that way. So let's do this. All this sneakiness. Now, seeing as this is a see-through scope, I'm thinking if I use this thing just in third person, I won't have to endure all of that unnecessary zoom in, which means that I can use this thing in close quarters even whilst having the stability of aiming down sights fairly easily. I just need to be in third person. That guy didn't even notice where I was. It's good news because the rest of them surely won't. Unfortunately for me, there's a little bit of fog that's around. I used to have a mod that used to remove all of this fog in the interiors because I thought I'd get better frames out of it, but that never happened. I just had a bad computer. I've still got that one sitting around somewhere. I haven't turned it on in years. If I did dare to turn it on, I think I might have some issues. I don't think I have anything left on the hard drive either because I lent it to my brother whilst he was in the process of being a console player. I uplifted him. Granted, he did stay on the console for much longer, but anyways, I'm getting off track. This weapon is absolutely crushing everything. We're just completely invisible at the moment. This thing's got a pretty insane rate of fire, which allows me to utilize the sneak multipliers to get incredibly good DPS here. And the thing, that's a grenade launcher. Might want to just get up and maybe VATS. Yes, VATS. Yes, we'll hit this one. The short barrel and scope combination is actually more VATS efficient than I was anticipating too. But I'm still kind of worried about grenade launcher, man. So let's charge the corner and crit through the camera. Don't you bloody... No! It might be all over. I'm gonna hold the VATS button down. He's just taunting me. Every time I'd get up, he shoots again. Okay, just finish him. Finish the job. Grenade launcher, guys. They make things interesting. I think they're trying to trash talk me there, and there's another timely level up right there. So with that in mind, we'll just keep going. We'll switch back over to our super stealthy semi-auto variant. And did I mention I had a semi-auto variant without the suppressor on it? Just to give this a quick listen to. Probably could have used a bigger mag, but this is a sniper weapon. We don't need a big mag because we're accurate. We could be 100% accurate. We still wouldn't have killed that guy in a single magazine. At least with chest shots. Headshots would have done the job, but still. That's not super easy to do when the gunners will just bounce around and ADAD spam like they do. Anyways, so, yep, we're pretty much done for the gunners here. I think you'll find yourself having a pretty good conclusion about the damage of this thing. And also, I'm clipping through the earth here. That's not supposed to happen. But whilst we're... Okay, just jump down. Let's find something else to shoot. Yes, we'll do that. We'll shoot a big monster. To demonstrate the DPS of the infiltrator, because we weren't really seeing that much of it against the gunners, I'm going to shoot Swan like a billion times in the face, and we're going to make sure we hit the... Never mind, we're going to get a little bit closer. We want to get all of that damage, not just the half damage you get when we're out of range here. If I crawl back, it seems that we're pretty close to him, it seems. It's unfortunate that he's putting his arm up in front of his face. That little dab move that he's got there is cutting off my ability to headshot. At least for me to headshot, but VATS shouldn't have any problem. I'm seeing 500 damage, 541, 550. Is it getting stronger every time we're hitting him? There's no furious effect on this, is there? That's really weird. Let's try that again. 252. That's higher. I've got no idea why that's happening. but he's dead, and the DPS was pretty stellar, so I wasn't lying to you. I don't know why we suddenly got more damage for no reason. Nice. But, yeah. That's, that was faster than I even thought it was going to be, so that I guess we'll take that as a win. Back to daylight now. Let's take out some giant crabs, but for the warm-up rounds, we'll fight some raiders who are more resistant to bullets than I would have thought, but yeah, we are only using the unsuppressed variant, and if we decide to shoot the ones that aren't quite ready for it, we can do pretty good. I was seeking headshots there, but not really finding much. Okay, they've found us now, so I'll just sit behind this. That better not be a flashbang. It wasn't a flashbang, so we're fine. We can run away from that. We can walk away real easy from a frag grenade, but a flashbang, nah, that's gonna disorient you. Weird. Anyways, we'll keep going, and we've got just one raider waster. For some reason, we'll just do a shitload of damage for one shot, and okay, someone tried to take on a Mirelurk clean with a pool cue. Not the best decision that raider ever made. And if that's the average decision they've made, it's amazing that they've made it this far. Managed to pull some cheeky little sneak crits on that thing. Keep in mind, this thing is calibrated and powerful, so if we do a crit on something, we could probably get a shit ton of damage. Like this guy. He's just getting started, he says. Well, looks like you're just getting ended there, buddy. Didn't mean to switch weapons there, was hitting the VATS button but missed. That's okay, that dude's dead. And now we get to fight the Mirelurk, which we're going to crit in the face a few times, to the detriment of my crit count there, but we'll see how we go. 433, that's not too bad for a non-sneak critical. 466, concentrated fire, just doing a little bit to increase my damage output there, but only to an extent. It's not going to keep going, is it? Well, he's slightly running out of my weapon's reach now, so we're getting less as he's getting further on. But if we don't shoot him in the head, we're getting such minuscule amounts of damage that I don't even want to consider it. I'm not even going to acknowledge it. Bad. Let's do better. Shoot him in the face. So we're getting a 62 now. Maybe he's out of range. Who knows? So it looks like if we're not sneak and stealth critting with this thing, it's a little bit underwhelming. I might just bring out the infiltrator again, see if we can get that furious effect revved up again. And we've got a bunch of shots. We're at point blank range. We've got ace operator as well, so it looks like we're capping out at 34 at this point. So God only knows what was causing all of that extra damage before, but it ain't happening now. Or is it? Let's throw a fresh magazine here in VATS and then go even faster. Okay, so it was doing 60, then it's up to 134, and he's mutated, I guess, which we could probably only last one more hit until we die. But maybe we could gamble with that and see if we can't bait that hit and then get a sick nerd rage streak. Or we could just step out of his claw range because it's a Bethesda AI, and I wonder if they're gonna fix this pathing nonsense in Starfield, because if Todd Howard didn't really think to fix it in Fallout 4, which is going to be his great big standout game, well, you'd think he wouldn't really touch it in Starfield. Let's switch over to... Never mind, I thought I'd have more in the ammo capacity. Alright, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna reload this in VATS. There we go. Just wasted a shitload of time there. Most of that nerd rage was just reloading. But I think we can pull this off if we just be perseverant about it. And now that furious damage is coming again, and I just resisted all of that damage. Nice. But now things are getting a bit dire. I've got a bit of sprinting that I can do, so that's pretty good, but we have to be really careful about this. I feel like he's faster now as well. Probably would happen if he mutates, but we'll use up some of our sprinting juice to get some guaranteed headshots. We've got a Mysterious Stranger, which is going to lock me in anyway. 990. I swear to God, Mysterious Stranger, if you get me killed, I'm gonna get pissed off. Never mind, he's turned to face the stranger, and then just didn't. A little bit of indecision here. Pre-death indecision, it happens. Not to me, though. We're fine. See any bones break during that bit of combat at all? No. So I think... Excuse me, I'm choking here. I think I'm going to call it there for the NDR rifle. I've had a blast with this thing. It's a well put together rifle. I think the range could be improved to just bring its damage to a more sort of acceptable level for a medium distance thing, because you've got these scopes here which offer you a bit of zoom, but you can't really utilize that to its full extent when the range is so low that you'll be penalized for shooting at a range like from here to that ice cream sign anyway. So if they could tweak that up, that would be better. Don't know what that faux furious effect was on the on the short-barreled suppressed variant with the scope, but I'm happy to see that, and I don't know what that was, so anyone offers insight to that, I'd be interested to what they would say. That's for the mod author, of course. But other than that, it's a well-made mod, good animations, good sounds, and a fairly balanced, if not slightly underwhelming damage model due to the fact the range is. I think what I'd do as well is make it chamber 308s, which would be expensive, and obviously doing that much damage with a 308 round, you're going to want to take a combat rifle over it, especially if you are using it with an automatic variant or semi-auto, because the combat rifle will do a lot more damage than this. So maybe that's the reason why it uses the lighter 5.56s, which are a lot easier to get. But other than that, recommend this mod. Check out the link in the description. It'll be down there, and hopefully you'll have some fun with this weapon should you decide to download it for yourself. Thanks for watching.